Welcome to the Women Majoring in Marriage podcast with your host, Janice L. Vance. Girl, if you are a married woman that desires not just to have a surviving marriage, you know, the kind that's just on cruise control, but actually want a thriving marriage, you are in the right place. If you are engaged, this show can inspire you to prepare for your marriage before preparing for that expensive wedding day. Oh, and all my single ladies out there that are in their season of waiting on God to send your husband, we've got something for you as well. Girl, marriage is not hard, but it certainly is work. So relax, get your pen and paper, and let us major in marriage.
Well, welcome to the Women Major in Marriage podcast with yours truly, Janice Vance. Thank you, Queens, for continuing to rock with me. I see you all on my platform. I see your comments, and I just want to say thank you because there's so many other places you could be, but I want to say thank you so very much. Today, I have a special guest with me, and y'all know I said this on all my recordings with my guests. I always pray and ask God to send me people and who He will have for the season that I'm in, who He will have for my audience that will inspire and encourage women, not just married women. This platform is for married women, those that are married that no longer want just a surviving marriage, but want to thrive in marriage. And this platform is for those women that are engaged. I encourage them to prepare for being a wife before preparing for before their wedding date. The wedding date, you know, we get so excited and so busy. Who's gonna be in the wedding? Who's this? But I encourage women to seek God on how to be a wife because you might look at it on the outside, but marriage is work. Marriage is work. So I encourage those women that are engaged, honey, focus on how to be a wife. And then lastly, to the woman that is in her season of waiting on God to send her husband, encourage that woman to wait on God to send him and be busy about the things of God while you're waiting on God. So I thank God. I thank God for my guest today, Melissa Barnes. And y'all not gonna believe where she's from. Okay. God, divine connection, divine connection. Melissa Bond is from Ontario, Canada. I want to say welcome, Melissa. Welcome. I'm so grateful for your team reaching out to me. She's going to talk to us about a life to remember. And I'm going to tell you something about her. Melissa lives in Ontario, Canada with her husband, and she has 3 children aged 7, 11, and 15. She has 20 plus years career in the death and grief career industry. Wow. And the founder of Barnes Coaching and the RISE Method for high achieving entrepreneurs. She has a Facebook group, Instagram group, and she is on LinkedIn, and I will have those links all down there. But again, Melissa, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I want you to just sit back and just like you and I just sit and talking and just share with the audience what you want them to take away with, what you want to take away. This is so needed. And I just want to applaud you for what you're doing for your platform. Melissa, it's yours.
Janice, what a beautiful introduction. Thank you. And thank you for having me here. And I've enjoyed our conversation that we've already had for just the last couple of minutes. So I'm honored. And I do believe that we were aligned with our messaging. And I've got a big mission to share. And I think you know that. And I think you felt that from even just,
Yes.
the content and the context that I share with you. And I loved the name of your podcast. So I was pulled right in right away. I thought, that's amazing. That is
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you.
So I applaud you too. And you're right. Your intro from the podcast is spot on for the married women, for the women who are engaged, For the women who are waiting for the right person for their life, you are spot on and you have nailed it. So what I really do is I work with women who are busy building their business and their career, but also building their family. And I use my 20-year background in the grief care and in the death care sector as fuel to my fire, if you will.
Mm.
And so because of my 2 decades listening to some of the saddest stories, the most tragic ends, and some of life's biggest regrets, the ones that are the most haunting and real for me are the stories of beautiful women, ambitious, full of potential, with beautiful families
Mm.
who just disappeared in their own life.
Mm.
And it's a silent epidemic as far as I'm concerned. I've lived it and I've come out on the other side where we fall victim to just living our role and in the doing rather than surrendering to the being while we're doing the things that we have to do. So
Mm.
I'm really on a mission to raise women up and really reconnect themselves with themselves first, and then into their most crucial relationships in their home, which is their marriage and the relationships with their children as well, and build the business, because we get lost in this vision that it's all about legacy and what we leave behind. What gets missed is who we are while we're doing the work. I hope that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Mhm. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
Mm. Well, Melissa, when you talk about the grief, the career and the death and grief, was that just an industry that you was in that was your mission, or have you went through um, grief yourself and
Well,
experience?
yeah, I mean, for sure. This was a life chosen path for me.
Mm.
It is a family business in the funeral industry. My parents also walk this path of service, and I've walked with families in grief, and I too have walked through grief.
Mm.
And a lot of my grief, I've had very recent grief, and I wear him around my cross. One of my dearest friends who lost his battle. Um, the challenge with grief is we either succumb to it or we find a way to rise through it. And in the funeral business where I'm at, really encouraging families to share an experience where we can take that soul and that soul's mission with us on our journey forward rather than getting stuck within it. And so many people do. And I did too. I lost a very crucial, you know, woman of my life at a very tender teenage year. I was 13. That's an awkward age for anyone. But she was my great grandmother, and she was very much a matriarch of our family. And I suppressed that grief all the way from 13 well into my adult years. And it was through this work that I began to do that I awakened to what I had been doing is really suppressing it down. And I never felt it. And
Mm.
so now in this work, I feel her again. And it's
Mm.
beautiful when you can use the sadness and the pain of the physical loss and apply it to something meaningful and beautiful. And it's just beautiful how I work with, death, but I work with aliveness as well, encouraging the mission on both sides so that we can live full spectrum in the short time that we've got here on Earth, Jana.
Wow, wow, wow. That I'm just sitting thinking of a number of people that I know. I know personally, and I know people that have reached out to me. I know quite a bit of women that reach out to me that have lost their spouse. They have lost their spouse. As a matter of fact, somebody last month lost their spouse, and just seemed like they say that they just don't feel that they can go on. And I know you hear people say that, and it is when you going through it when it's so fresh. I know that from my mom passing 5 years ago, or almost 5 years ago, and it just seemed like, oh my goodness, this person been in your life all your life. How do you move on? How do you move on? But I know for a fact that, like you said, that you can move on because you stay in that little rut. That's all you're gonna know.
100%. Yeah.
That's all you're gonna know, and you're not gonna feel like you can move forward because really you're not. You just bashing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the steps that you tell people,
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, that you
Well,
tell them,
mhm.
especially those that it has happened a while, but it might be a year later, 2 years later, and like you say, a lot of people suffer in silence. They don't talk about it. So, what is it that you would say to that grieving woman who has buried this, like you said, have buried this and don't feel like she can move forward?
Mm-hmm. And with grief and trauma, which I work with both within the RISE method, is really about getting honest with ourselves. We have to feel it. We have to feel it. Yes, we want to bury ourselves under the pillow
Mm-hmm.
for the first while, and we're a mess and we don't want to be seen. And that's
Right.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
But putting on the mask and hiding behind the mask after a time where someone else has really dictated to you, it's time to move on,
Mm-hmm.
isn't real. We
Mm-hmm.
get to dictate to ourselves. And I want
Right.
to make that very clear. And a lot of people fall victim to sort of the linear fashion of what we are told is an appropriate amount of time to grieve.
Right.
It's just, what meaning do we place on the loss? What meaning did we make surrounding either the death or the trauma? What did we put on us? Is it guilt? Is it regret? Is it I wish I did or wish I didn't? These are the deeper truths that I find hold us down. And it's
Mm-hmm.
stories that we'll keep repeating when we feel like we have a good day and we're starting to see the light again. We'll regress back into the thought pattern of, I regret doing this or saying that, or that fight that we had that one time. And we put ourselves in this very vulnerable situation, almost building a cage around us. So I encourage anybody who's feeling, whether it's grief or another type of hurt that we've experienced, and we know we're burying it because our intuition speaks. It knows and it tells us.
Right.
And it's just to hear it and listen to it. Do not allow those stories to hold you back because it will stop you from doing great things in your life. Can
Mm.
you move on? I say we move forward, not on. We're into a new chapter with a new meaning of life. And it's the progression that is the most important, to start taking steps to move forward.
Mm. That is so powerful, and I'm sitting here thinking that, even in that, when you say not just grief of women that are hurting, and I'm just sitting how what you said can relate so much to divorce.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
And I've heard people say divorce is like a death or whatever. I have heard people say that, but I'm just listening to you talk about the hurt and what people hold on to, what I didn't do, the regrets, what I should have
Mhm.
done more, should have, all of these things, and that can relate so much to not just death, but in divorce as well, because there's a lot of oh my good, there's a lot of divorced women that that are hurting, that are hurting. And you hear some say, "Oh, honey, divorce was the best thing ever happened to me," blah 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 blah. But divorce affects people whether they know it or not. Whether it was their relationship that was so bad that put a lot of hurt on you that you're still dealing with,
Mhm.
that abusive thing in your head and your mind that you're still dealing with, even though you might say that was the best thing that could have ever happened to you. But ask yourself, are you whole?
Yeah.
And that's why I encourage women that are believing God for their husband to make sure that they while they're in the season of waiting, make sure that they are over all these past hurt. Don't get somebody else into the relationship and you really not over and you think they gonna help you get through it. You
Mhm.
there gonna be some triggering moments, and you're gonna end up bleeding on that person that didn't even cut you. You're gonna even bleed on. That's why it's so important to heal, to
Mhm.
heal.
Yes.
So, what else would you say to this audience, Melissa? Even in
Mhm.
your coaching entrepreneurs, do you mostly coach hurting people, or are you entrepreneurs that they're entrepreneurs, but they still trying to get through their own thing? Is that what your coaching service is about, or just coaching women uh, to be entrepreneurs?
So I work with women who are entrepreneurs or high level in a business that is sort of like a higher stress level. So entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
high level executives who are also building families. And the women that I work with are struggling in their relationships at home. So
Mm,
whether that's their marriage or the relationship with their children is being challenged, the true issue is the disconnect that can happen when we are outwardly very successful on the outside of the
mm-hmm,
mouth.
mm-hmm,
But on the inside, we haven't caught up to ourselves and the roles that we're playing. So we're the boss, we're the wife, we're the mama, we're the taxi driver, we're the scheduler, we're the cook, we're the laundry person, we're the cleaner, we're all of these things. And what happens is, especially when we're overachievers, is we fall down on acting and performance rather than the true intimate connection in our relationships. And so, what can happen is we start to really sort of almost resent the very people that we love the most and the people we're doing all of the things for. And it all comes back to our identity. And in so many cases, we're so busy and overwhelmed, and the feeling of unhappiness has taken over, where we are just doing on autopilot,
mm.
almost afraid to look in the mirror because we've lost our true level of our identity. And this ties back to what you were just saying, about, having a divorce or carrying the pain into the next relationship. We see this every day where we harbor this sort of like resentment and resistance And you're right, you fire it on to the next person who had nothing to do with it. So I work with these women who are on the verge of burning it down because they're just so overwhelmed by it all. They've completely disconnected from the people they love and from themselves. They've forgotten who they are. They've forgotten about the woman who had the dream, and they've forgotten how to find her again. And that's where I step in.
Wow. And you seen men and women come out of this?
100%.
Wow.
100%. And all it takes, I shouldn't say that. It's not all it takes. It's a lot of work.
Work.
And it's really just having someone to hold up the mirror and say, you know, where you're at right now doesn't have to be where you choose to be in 5 minutes. You have the right to change gears and be a different person. We don't have to live like a survival mode in our marriage. We want to thrive in it. We want to show our kids what a loving marriage should look like.
Mm.
And we want to show them what being a mom or a dad looks like too, in a thriving parental role as well. When you're disconnected, everything's hard, it's grinding, it's hustle, and that's when we go to bed at night with regret. Like, oh, I lost it on the kids because the toys are on the floor. So medial things, but everything just compounds and life can get hard. And I'm my first success story. And I'll just share it quick, not to take too much time, Janice,
Oh no,
but
no. You got time. Come on, you helping somebody.
I'm in the process of writing a book. So I don't want to spill all the beans
Okay.
just yet. But there was a moment, I was a mom of three already. Our youngest was still quite young at that time. We had gone through COVID, a lot of weird changes, both in business and in the kids' structure of life and activities in school and all the things. And we were hosting a service for a young woman, younger than I was even at that time, who had three little babies, toddlers. And the moment came crashing down on me when we were about to start the service, and these three beautiful kids are calling for their mom. And I was just like, oh my God. Here's this beautiful woman full of potential, leaving her babies here on earth, and she's got no choice but to do that. And here I am running on autopilot, not connected to anybody that I really love because I'm in the busy hustle of doing, and I'm missing it all. I'm missing those little moments are the moments to be remembered, not about the big stuff. So right in that moment, my life had to switch gears because I was done living that way, being disconnected, being resentful, being just busy with everybody else's schedules. I lived in resentment of it because I had lost myself. And that's really where the birth of the RISE method came. And that's where I buried that woman on autopilot with me. I buried her that day. And I decided it was time to rise. And I'm not missing any more of these moments.
Wow. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Wow. So you are so passionate about seeing women thrive.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know, did I do podcast or YouTube? I think it was YouTube. I did it might have been podcast too, because I put a podcast on my YouTube. But anyway, I was talking about marriage on autopilot. And I really was expressing what you talked about, that same woman that is so busy. We're trying to be everything to everybody, and we lose ourselves while trying to do all of that. And that is so awesome that you personally can share how you overcame it, how you found yourself, how you're now thriving, and how you can look back and see how those moments, we be so busy. When you love what you do in work, it doesn't feel like work, and you're passionate about it, and you can get lost in it.
Mhm.
You can get lost, and you can be on the computer working, doing something, and when you know anything, 3 hours has passed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then you're trying to do this over here. You're trying to do this, trying to make sure everybody in bed. Everybody did this. Children did homework. Then the next day, the same thing. And when you know anything, a year has passed. Then another year has passed.
Yes.
And you don't think too much about it at first because you're doing what you love, you're passionate about, and you feel like I'm still pouring into people. I'm pouring into people. I'm doing what I need to do at home. I'm doing what I need to do in my business. I'm getting all these things done, but you lose your own self.
Yeah. Oh, yes. 100%. And that's
And
when you start, you know, saying things out loud, or for me now, I hear it from other people. But oh, I feel like the nanny. I do everything for everybody, and nobody even notices that I'm here. That's the disconnect, right? But that all starts inside of us. That's the
inside.
disconnect. So, but you're right. And like time flies by. Janice, you were saying you have grown kids, you're a grandma now. Like, look how fast it goes.
How fast it goes. Right.
And
And time is one thing you can't get back. You could do better.
yes.
And we as women, we have to learn to put our mask on first.
Oh, yes.
Put our mask on first because we really can't pour from an empty cup.
No, we can't. And so many do.
And,
So many do.
and so many do. We forget about ourselves. We forget about ourselves. That is so encouraging, Melissa, how you have your own personal testimony and how you are helping women every day and helping those women in business
Mhm.
to not just have a thriving business, but being thrive within yourself, being whole within yourself, being happy within yourself, and not to lose yourself while you're trying to build a business. And congratulations on you writing your book.
Thank
So
you.
so so how long you think it'll be before your book come out? You still I know I
Mm,
know I know the writing process take time.
it,
Are
it
you
does
fit?
take some time. And I think probably within 6 months, I'm going to probably have it ready and go into publication. It's kind of my memoir. From my funeral side of things and how it ties into now my life in the thriving industry. And and so I want to make sure that I'm taking my time with it and
Exactly.
sharing my true thoughts about it. So I'm going to say about 6 months and then it will be published. I'm thrilled about it. It's like my new baby, right?
Mm. I know how you feel. I wrote my first book 5 years ago during COVID. I wrote my book
See
during
how
COVID.
fast it goes?
During COVID, in the midst of COVID, I wrote my first book. And I know when it's your baby and when you want to make sure everything aligns and you don't leave out anything, but most of all, you does not want it to be just a book. You want it to be something that encourage and inspire and help other women that read the book. So you take your time with it. Yeah, I wish you well. Congratulations. It's so many people have books inside of them.
Oh, yes. We
It's a
all
lot
have
of
stories. We all have
yeah,
stories to
we
share.
all yes, we all have stories to tell. That is so awesome. Will you tell the audience, and then I'll have it in there too, how they can contact you, um This has really been great. This is so befitting as to what my platform is all about. And that's what I want. It's not all about me, but I want people to see other people out there that can encourage them, that can tell their story, and that can say, hey, this is what I went through, and this is how I look on the other side. And that's what I love about you, Melissa, that we see you now on the other side, on the other side. So I could say you don't look like nobody been through nothing, but I'm sure you have.
Oh, yes, I've been through the trenches.
What you say? What you say? You don't look like what you've been through.
Thank goodness.
I know that. I know that's the truth. I know that's the truth. But is there anything else you want to leave with the audience and then tell them how that they can reach you?
Mhm. I think the most important message, Janice, for today is just to think back and reflect on what it is that we're building and what we're going to be leaving as the legacy, because I'm the legacy builder. I build the women who build the legacy. It isn't what we left. It's about having your photo on your kids' walls long after you're gone.
Mm,
And they're showing their children, or maybe even the grandchildren, and saying how powerful and what a woman my mom was. And look at what she did for us. And not just about the stuff, it's about you
mm,
and those connections. And that is the legacy piece. And I feel that's the most important thing we can leave for our children, especially now. If we have younger kids like mine, we want to leave them holding the mirror of who they too can be,
mm,
what the relationship with their partner should look like, and how they can lead their own life. At the true level of fact, we are leaders in our own empires, and we choose how we're going to lead today.
mm.
And I think that's the biggest message.
Wow, how awesome. That is well said. You couldn't have said it any better. Wow, that is so well said. So tell them now, Melissa, how they can get in contact with you, reach out to you.
Well, I'm like on all the social media platforms. And I know you have those links, Janice.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think the easiest way is to go directly to my website. There's some literature. There is a resource there, a very easy read on how to start rebuilding the intimacy inside of your marriage.
Mm,
And I also have some articles that I have contributed to Brains Magazine as well about leadership with no regrets. And it's melissabarnescoaching.vip is the web address. And you can also get my calendar there and you can book a free rise call with me if it's something that you think just resonates within your soul. You can book the call right there in my calendar.
wow, awesome, awesome. Well, Melissa, again, thank you so very much. And it has been a pleasure, such a pleasure,
Thank
interviewing with you. And ladies, don't forget, don't forget, share these videos because sometimes we sit back and we like, well, no, I don't really know anybody, or honey, send it to everybody because there's a lot of people walking around hurting. There's a lot of people with so much hurt inside.
you.
They're suffering in silence. Women suffering in silence, and people don't know. And you're like, oh, she dressed so nice. She looks so nice every time I see her. She's smiling, but you don't know who's hurting. So
Mhm.
share this video with your family, with your friends, and you never know who you might be saving their life. Again, thank you so much, Queens, for continuing to rock with me. And until next time, and I want y'all to tune in next month in October, I will have guests who have battled or is battling or have battled breast cancer. We'll be doing breast cancer month. I think I normally just do my podcast twice a month, but I think next month I might try to do 4 interviews just for that month. And I'm so passionate about it because I have a sister who have battled breast cancer several years ago and now battling it again. And she was one on my very first podcast. I was talking about my sister was on my very first podcast. She talked about losing her husband. And then that same sister have battled breast cancer. And here she is back again with it. So I'll see how she's feeling and if, the Lord lead her to do it now that she's actually in the midst of it, if she would be interested in doing. So you all tune in for the breast cancer month.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Women Majoring in Marriage podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to like, subscribe, leave a review, or comment. All that good stuff that helps other folks like you find the podcast. Please come back every month on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday for new episodes. You can also find Janice on our website, www.janiceVance.com, where you can order her book, Women Majoring in Marriage. And for more fun content, be sure to check out our Facebook group at Women Majoring in Their Marriage. Also, if you have any questions or would like to reach out, feel free to send us an email at themarriagemajor@gmail.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.